You know, one of these days I'm going to edit these intros out. You know, I work actually 3 jobs and I work 7 days a week. I don't know if you know that or not. Even if you hate me, that's true. Been doing a lot of setups for product photography lately. Petapixel posted a link to a new video, and I keep seeing this on videos, and I see it everywhere on photography forums. And please, I beg of you, as someone that fixed cameras for ages, I just have to go, please, please stop telling other people and stop doing yourself the disservice of using canned air in your cameras. You know, somebody take the lens off and please, never ever, I don't care at what distance it is, never, and by the way, you should never use canned air on the outside of your camera. You should use a brush. I have a brush here somewhere. I also have a blower. Please, never. Now you can use an air bulb like this. It's my favorite one. Never use canned air. Let's first start off with the outside of the camera. When you use canned air, yeah, even if it's not all that close, all it does is it blows junk deeper into your camera. Instead of blowing it off of your camera, if it's stuck in the cracks and crevices, all you're doing it is blowing deeper into your camera. And if, perchance, it is a camera like an X100 series, where you can't actually clean the sensor of the camera, you actually have to send it back to Fujifilm, that's no bueno. As someone that has fixed countless thousands of cameras, yeah, and lenses, I beg of you, never ever buy or use canned air. Now let's talk about actually blowing canned air into your camera. You probably don't know this, okay? The shutter blades on your camera mech, whether they be Nikon, Canon, Sony, Fujifilm, they are Teflon coated Kevlar in most cases, but even if they're not metal shutter blades, not Teflon coated metal shutter blades anymore like on an old Nikon F4S, yeah. No, they're, which is actually themselves quite fragile and very thin, and still should not use canned air then. When you use canned air and you blow it inside of your camera, it's like, well, I don't see any dust on my sensor anyway. The reason for premature failure of your shutter mech, 99 times out of 100, is 2 reasons, okay? Canned air, no particular order. Number 2, the dust and crud that gets into your camera, what happens is it gets between the reciprocating shutter blades. Yeah, there's a first curtain and a second curtain. You got 2 curtains in there. When they're moving really fast, and you know they move really fast, when they actually hit a piece of microscopic dust, it's like you could barely feel it if you had it between your fingers, or you probably could not feel it. Well, at high reciprocation speed, what happens is the shutter blades hit that and they warp and they deform because they're moving really fast. And this causes them to actually warp in the assembly of the first or second curtain, whether that be blade 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the first curtain, or blade 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the second curtain. Yeah, that's the primary reason for failure. Right? Now, they will fail. I've seen more than a few cameras that were well taken care of, professional, like Nikon D4, Nikon D3S, so on and so forth, with nearly 1 million clicks plus. Yeah, it's not to say you're going to get that, right? The second thing that will cause failure even faster than grit inside your mirror box or, you know, around the sensor is using canned air. Canned air, when you actually, and I've seen people do this thousands of times, especially people giving training videos on how to clean your sensor, they'll actually sit there and take the lens off and they'll take some canned airs, and even worse with the nozzle. Yeah? What happens is it hits the cover glass, or what you call in the sensor, and then it deflects immediately to top or bottom. Yeah? And it's actually hitting those extremely, insanely fragile, insanely thin shutter blades. And they're deforming. Canned air will destroy your shutter mech faster than a dirty mirror box will. It will. That's not my opinion. That's not my feeling. That's a fact. Let's first now make another statement of fact to close out this video. Let's talk about the fragility of any and every digital camera. It doesn't matter what Sony, Nikon, Canon, Fujifilm. The most fragile mechanism in your camera is your shutter mech. I just told you things to avoid, okay? The second most fragile is the main board, susceptible to humidity and corrosion on set. Yeah? You actually end up with this temperature variation where you have a hot camera and it may be slightly cool outside. It's heating up due to processor. Draws in moisture. Moisture sets on the main board. Corrosion starts to grow like a fungus. So like, I had a camera out on a humid day. My camera's really good because it was just raining. My camera still works. People say that all the time, but what's happening is that corrosion is setting in. Yeah? It's kind of like someone eating a greasy pizza. It's like, well, I feel fine. And they eat greasy pizzas for a couple of years and they have a heart attack. It's like, well, I eat these greasy pizzas for the past year and a half and they ain't done me no harm. And then all of a sudden, you have a heart attack. The main board is exactly like that when it comes to humidity. The least sensitive part in your digital camera, this is not my feeling or belief or conviction, it's a fact, okay? Because it's hermetically sealed and it has cover glass on top of that. Then it has a IR hot filter sandwiched between more glass on top of that. And then it has a final piece of cover glass. The least sensitive part of your camera is the actual sensor. Now when someone talks about damaging the sensor, they're talking about damaging the cover glass. You obviously don't want to damage the cover glass, but the sensor is technically the least fragile part of your digital camera. Not my feeling that that's the case, it's actually the case. And for every knucklehead out there making a video about or telling other people, I use canned air, you know, it's never, ever, ever use canned air. Doesn't matter if you're close or near, you never use canned air on your digital camera. Never, ever, for any reason, ever, period. Never use canned air. I rest my case. Thank you so much. Yeah. This video was not an expression of my feelings. It was a statement of fact. Okay? Thank you. Goodbye.